Hey guys, Mitchell Bouchard here, and welcome to another episode of Red Cape Learning. On today's episode, I'm going to be showing you guys 10 different filmmaking accessories that you can use next time on set. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave some comments, and I will see you guys right after this video. In this section, we're going to talk about 10 filmmaking accessories that you should have in your camera bag. And the first one we're going to talk about are extra camera batteries. Now, this is a battery for the Canon C100, and this is one for the GH5. It is very important to have extra camera batteries. One thing to note too is that you don't necessarily want to buy the knockoff brands, because if they're not set at the right voltage, if you're using Canon batteries, you're way better off buying the original Canons. They'll generally last a lot longer. And for example, this is a Wasabi Power, and I'm just not really familiar with that company. And this battery works really well and it lasts a long time, but you're also gonna miss some of the features. Like this one usually has a button I can press and it shows me how much battery length I have left. You definitely wanna have extra batteries in your bag. It's something that a lot of filmmakers try to cheap out on, because you want to save the $20 or the $10 even to get small batteries like this. You can buy these in 3 or 4 packs. Specifically the LPE6 batteries for $10 a piece, if not less. And yeah, it's one thing to really make sure you do is to get extra camera batteries. It's one of the first things I do, and yeah, it's one of the most important things that you have to get for your camera accessory bag. The second piece of accessory that you need are SD cards. And SD cards are really important because you don't want to be out shooting and you run out of space. I'm using a lot of cards right now for my cameras. I'm using 3 cameras in total for this course. But I generally rock and roll with at least 64 gigabytes. These cards are amazing. These are the Kingston brands. I recommend checking out the read and write speeds of the camera. Usually SD cards, usually class 10 or U3 cards work very well. So remember when your camera's picking up footage. So remember when your camera is recording footage, it is filling up that footage into the card, but it also has to not only read but write that data. So depending on the compression of your camera, make sure you pick up a fast enough card. I always go at least 64 gigabytes in terms of space, and read and write speed, I try to hit close to 100 megabits. Shout out to my sister Shanae, or also known as Chanel Bouchard. She bought me this great Pelican case, and it's a hard case. So I could drop this in the water, which you don't want to do ever, but at least it's waterproof. It's got this waterproof seal on it, and it just makes me feel a lot better that I could put this around my neck using a lanyard or something like that. But yeah, you have to have a good case for your cards. Make sure you have enough, and make sure that your cards are fast, because you're going to need them, especially moving into higher end cameras. The next piece of equipment that you need are bags. So obviously you need a good film bag. I recommend Pelican cases. I just didn't want to bring it on the table and show you, but Pelican cases are great. A lot like the lens case we talked about earlier. Those are really nice to have. Now this is more of an accessory bag. I also like to throw in these silica gels. This is just good for moisture, just so you don't, because you're going to be putting equipment in here and batteries and stuff. But you could throw in your batteries in a bag like this. You could use tape and write something on there. I like this because I'm kind of a comic book nerd myself. But it's really nice to have specific bags for specific pieces of gear. I like these mesh ones. I'm also thinking of launching my own product, my Red Cape Films bag, because I think there should be, nicer film bags. But what you can do is, say you have your SD card case, you can open this guy up. This is from the dollar store, this bag. Close it in here, And now you have a place to put in multiple bags or, different kind of versions of cards, and you could throw in batteries. And it's just really nice to have extra bags to keep things nice and organized and tidy. These are just accessories and things that I don't want you guys to cheap out on, because you're hurting when you don't have this stuff. It's very, very important to, listen and to explore all these things, because, when you're not doing the things you're supposed to in filmmaking, you hurt in the end. Now, I'm sure you've heard it before, but you need gaff tape, guys. I'm actually almost out of gaff tape on this roll. This is a green roll. What you should get is a black roll of gaff tape. Unfortunately, I just ran out, so I can't show you. But I recommend getting gaff tape at this size. I believe it's a couple of inches. They're usually 2 to 4 inches in depth. But yeah, the black gaff tape is really nice because you can hide a lot of stuff with it, and it's much easier to hide on set. If you put this on walls and you put it on there really hard, you might have issues. However, for the most part, you could put this on, here, I'll put it on the table actually. So what you can do is say, put it on the table. This is a nice wooden table. I could write on here with, say, a Sharpie or something like that, and I could just take it off. So, say you want your talent to, land on a certain marker, which you would use other tape for. But yeah, for beginning filmmakers, gaff tape is essential, and it's really easy to rip, tear. It's good in heat, for water. It's just built for this kind of stuff. Or you could put it on cases. You could write your name. You could write your phone number and give it to some girl you've been wanting to talk to, or a guy, whatever you're into. And yeah, overall, gaff tape is something that you have to have. It does get annoying and it can get a little bit pricey, but when you're filmmaking, you have to have gaff tape. You might not think that you need gaff tape, but you do. The next filmmaking accessory we're going to talk about are multi-tools and just Allen wrenches or any kind of tools. These are things that you think that you may not need again, but it's very important and very useful. Even right now, I already have pliers. I can adjust a screw. This is definitely not a good multi-tool. My multi-tool is being used on set in Toronto right now by one of my good friends. Shout out to Elliot Hale. So I would recommend at least getting a good multi-tool that has this kind of, feature on it as well. So, it's great to have a Phillips and, other different tools handy. But just all in all, make sure you get yourself, some Allen keys, a good, 9, 10, 50-in-1 multi-tool, and at least a flathead. The next piece of equipment, the next accessory that you should have in your bag are clamps. I didn't bring the big clamps. You can get bigger clamps than these. You can go to Rona, Home Depot, Amazon, they sell them as well. But what I do is I tie a piece of rope. I recommend going to the dollar store, buying yourself a set of these, or going online, because it's very cheap. You can get these in packs of like 50. They get all over the place, but they're always so handy. They're just great for tying things down. I recommend getting the bigger clamps as well. But you definitely need to get yourself a set of clamps. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about are filters. This is a little more specialized, but we are going to utilize filters to achieve shallow depth of field in one of our last sections. This is our product. This is the Red Cape Film 77mm variable ND filter. I know it is a lot to take in, but basically what you have here is a filter, and as you spin it, the intensity opens and closes. Now, this is for filming outdoors, so if you want to achieve shallow depth of field, you have to use a filter. You don't necessarily need this one. we have an incredible supplier. We've tested all of our products, and you know, these filters are really good. They don't have any weird color shifts. You know, this is a cheaper set, so you got basically 3 different filters here at different intensities. So kind of the same thing, 77 millimeter. So just like we talked about in the lens, the budget lens kind of setup, these are different intensities, a little dirty. Talk about lens cloth soon. But yeah, unlike that variable ND filter just means that you have all intensities in one as you spin it. And you can finesse things too, right? So you throw this on your 77 millimeter filter thread, you turn it, and you're able to utilize these lenses. But yeah, make sure that you guys have filters in your camera bag, because you never know when you're gonna be filming outdoors. And when you do, you're better off having filters so you can see what's going on in your shots. Now this is just a cheap extension cable I got at Walmart, and it works really well. The reason I say you should have this is because when you're using lights, or you know, your outlet is far, you want to be able to have cables. You should also get splitters where you could plug this end into a splitter, and you could have, you know, different extensions. So you know, you want to be able to maximize all of your outlets. You know, just because you're filmmaking on your own or you're just getting started, you know, you shouldn't, you know, don't cheap out on this stuff. I know it's boring buying extension cables, but trust me, I use at least 2 or 3, even if I'm shooting by myself and it's a small shoot. You know, I need them for my lights, and you will most likely need them for your lights as well, unless you buy expensive LEDs, because the technology isn't quite there yet. So yeah, make sure you guys get some extension cables. The next filmmaking accessory we're going to talk about are batteries. So right here we've got our Panasonic charger, because I want to talk about Eneloop batteries. And what we're going to talk about, just in general to start off, you need to have many batteries, and you should have both rechargeable and non-rechargeable batteries, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So let me spread this out a little bit. These are lithium-ion batteries. These are non-rechargeable batteries. Okay, these are for AA, and these are non-rechargeable Duracell batteries. And then in here, another thing, make sure you have a little case. This one's kind of cracked, but I still use it. Make sure you have a case though for your batteries. Stay organized. And then here we have AA batteries, which are lithium ion. They are non-rechargeable. This is another case kind of thing. And these are the ones I really want to talk about, and these are the AA Eneloop batteries. These batteries are the best batteries you can get for the price. Now, these batteries I would recommend to anybody. The reason I like these Eneloop batteries is because you can keep recharging these batteries and they don't eventually die out on you. Most rechargeable batteries, when you buy them and as you keep recharging them, they eventually don't hold the same amount of charge. And that's always been kind of frustrating to me, because I would buy really nice Energizer batteries, but as I would keep recharging them, even like 10 times, they wouldn't last very long, especially when I'm using higher end equipment or a camera flash. They don't last long at all, especially for audio recorders. And as you keep recharging these batteries, they don't start to die out. They're able to recharge to, you know, over 90% for years and years. So these, you don't have to worry as much with these batteries in comparison to the old Energizer rechargeable batteries. Now, those are Eneloop nickel cadmium batteries. Now, that's an older battery technology. I don't think there are any rechargeable lithium ion AA batteries. Throwaway batteries. It's really good to have those, because when you have them and they usually come in a little pack, it makes you feel better that, You know, say you're filming a wedding or you have a live event and you don't want to monitor things as much, you know, you throw in these batteries and they're just going to perform really well. But yeah, I recommend getting Eneloops and lithium ion batteries for AA's. Now let's go into AAA batteries. We have Duracell Duralock batteries, and we have lithium ion Energizer batteries as well. These last a long time, especially you know, when you're comparing AAA batteries. You know, the lithium ion batteries are significantly lighter. It's pretty amazing actually. But when it comes down to it, they do make AAA Eneloop batteries as well. So yeah, don't mess around with batteries, get some good stuff. And yeah, we'll talk about the next filmmaking accessory. The next piece of equipment we're gonna talk about are lens cleaners. So right here, I have got a lens cloth. This one's kind of dirty, but they all get like that if you use them. Now these are lens cloths. So this is the lens pen. This one's kind of pricey. I believe I got it online, but if you go to a store, don't get ripped off with these. You know, you could pay a lot, like you could pay like $30 for stuff like this. You know, you could pay like, you could overpay for stuff like this online, but you know, find a good deal for these. They shouldn't be too expensive. Say your filter. Actually, we're gonna use a filter to show you a little bit. This is my prototype anyways. This is one of my products anyways. So as you can see, there's dust on here. If you don't have to clean your lens, meaning if it's not crazy dirty, then don't clean it at all, is to use a brush like this. You know, it's a good way to kind of sweep everything away. See if the other side's bad. Yep, you could do this. And then you also have the wipe down method with the cloth. So there's a brush and a cloth. And then the other one is, I don't have one on me. Now the other option is to use air. So think about it also in the sense that if you don't have to clean your lens or your filter, don't do it. Anytime you're touching glass, you are increasing the potential for, you know, getting scratches because there's stuff already on there. You know, you may also be doing a negative and you know, pushing more stuff and scraping you know, little marks into your product. So do not overdo it. Do not clean them, you know, every hour. You know, let them be, and protect your stuff. Keep your caps on as well. Guys, that's all we have for you on this week's episode. I hope that you purchase some of this gear, or if you already have some, maybe use it more often. One other thing I wanted to talk about too is I was on set last week and I was amazed by how much I was using Gaff Tape. I actually ran out of another roll. But yeah, just little things like that to have in your bag, like Gaff Tape, you know, SD card cases, and ND filters for when you're shooting outside. Very vital, very important. Yeah, guys, don't forget to support the sensor, and I'll see you in the next episode.